of a deep emotional resonance and significant legal implications, focusing on a very tragic case of Christopher Gabesa, a 13-year-old black boy who drowned in the River Cannon in the Wales over 4.5 years ago. Now, the family, renewed in their call for justice following a coroner's ruling, is urging the Crown Prosecution Service to take action against Jaden Powell, the older white boy who, according to the coroner, deliberately pushed Christopher into the river. Now, as we dive into the details, we'll explore the coroner's findings, the family's pursuit of justice, and the broader implications of this case, including accusations of institutional racism.
What is great about the Freedom Formula?
So let's look at the tragic incident itself and the immediate aftermath, which set the stage for a long legal journey for Christopher's family. Now, it was supposed to be a normal day. However, it turned into a nightmare that would forever change the lives of Christopher Gabesa's family. On that fateful day, Christopher, 13-year-old with a zest for life but a weak swimmer, was pushed into the River Cannon from a ledge approximately 2.4 meters high. Now, the coroner, David Regan, later ruled that this push by the then 14-year-old Jaden Powell was deliberate. The intimate aftermath saw a grieving and confused family left to navigate what they feel was an investigation tainted by racial biases and a rush to judgment that framed the incident as a tragic accident rather than a potential manslaughter. Let's have a look.
I was a victim of the institutional racist practices of South Wales Police. I deserve better. Christopher was only a child, and he also deserved better. From the onset, they had already made their decisions and about what had happened to Christopher. They had a biased view of me as a black single mother living in the valleys. For example, rather than looking for Christopher, they closed the investigation within 24 hours. The police did not investigate the pattern of racism suffered by Christopher and the family. It was only after I raised concerns that they began to investigate properly. 4.5 years later, as I revisit the painful moments when my son was taken from us, I'm also haunted by the injustice our family endured throughout the police investigation into Christopher's death. Christopher would have celebrated his 18th birthday in January of this year. It was difficult watching other children do normal things that Christopher won't be able to do. I wonder every day what he would have looked like now.
Now, Assistant Coroner David Regan's ruling has thrown new light on the case. His conclusion that Christopher was indeed pushed into the river by Jaden Powell in what was described as a dangerous prank is a significant development. Now, David found that Jaden was aware of the risks involved in his actions. Despite these damning findings, the Crown Prosecution Service decided in 2020 that it was not in the public interest to charge Jaden, citing his age and good character at the time as mitigating factors. Now, this decision has now become under intense scrutiny, particularly by Christopher's family and supporters who believe that justice was not served. Christopher's mother, Elena Joseph, passionately articulated her grief and frustration. Her words were filled with the pain of a mother who not only lost her beloved son, but also endured what she considers institutional betrayal. Let's have a look.
You left the scene just like that, no investigation, no nothing. You were so quick to deem it to be a tragic accident. There was just numerous negligence from the police's part. I did not expect them to come and tell me they found sufficient evidence. However, they're going to try and protect this individual because his life or his future is of more value as opposed to Christopher. Why have things been done differently? Why have things been done differently in our case? You know, why they don't want to investigate? Why are they making all these excuses? Why they don't want to follow up on this or that? A name has to be given to it, and for me, I've given it the name racist.
Had it been 14 or so young black people and one white person who fell to their death as a result of a push, I think there's enough objective evidence to say the outcome would have been entirely different. There would have been charges brought.
Now, I must say that her words highlight the family's belief that racial prejudice influenced the investigation from the get-go. Now, Jaden Powell, who is now 19, has consistently maintained that the tragic event was an accident, and he also claims that he fell into Christopher, which caused Christopher to actually fall into the river. But now David Hugh, who is representing Jaden, contended that a wrongful narrative had developed around his client, branding him as a racist killer. Now, following the hearing, Christopher's mother, Alina Joseph, along with the family members, addressed the media. She said that rather than looking for Christopher, the police closed the investigation within 24 hours. They did not investigate the patterns of racism suffered by Christopher and the family. Now, it was only after she raised concerns that they began to actually investigate properly. Now, the case of Christopher Kapesa has become a touchstone for dialogues on institutional racism, especially within the UK's justice system. Anti-racism campaigners argue that had the racial roles been reversed, the authorities' response would likely have differed significantly, and honestly, I have to agree to this. And this belief has fueled calls for systematic change and underscored the disparities in how cases involving the racial minorities, which are the black, are managed. And the persistence of Christopher's family in seeking justice serves as a stark reminder of the systematic biases that can hinder true equity and justice. Now, this case is an example of how institutional racism can affect the investigation process and the treatment of victims' family. The initial dismissal of the case and the lack of a thorough investigation indicates a bias that actually needs to be urgently addressed. Now, the police approach seems to have been influenced by racial stereotypes and prejudice, which we are not surprised by. But as we reflect on the tragic death of Christopher Kapesa, I think it's clear that this case is about more than just a single incident. It's a stark reminder of the deep-seated issues of racism and bias that still permit our institutions. Now, the pain and anguish expressed by Ms. Joseph and her family are a powerful call to action. We must demand accountability and transparency from our law enforcement and judicial systems. It's not enough to acknowledge past mistakes. We must actively work to prevent this from occurring again. Now, the notion that Christopher's death was dismissed as a tragic accident without a thorough investigation is deeply troubling, and it speaks to a broader systematic issues where the lives and voices of black individuals and families are undervalued and ignored. Now, this is a reality that cannot be tolerated in a just society. Now, Christopher's story emphasizes the lingering challenges of racial inequalities and the urgency for the institutional transparency and accountability. It calls upon us all to reflect on how we treat the marginalized and ensure that justice is not just a privilege of certain demographics, but a right for everyone. We will continue to follow the story, honoring the memory of Christopher Kapesa and standing in solidarity with these demanding justice and equality. Now, with that being said, please let's engage in the comments section. We want to hear from you.
Good afternoon there, Israel. This is the Mighty Great Lion. Hope you're all doing well in the name of our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. I just wanted to bring this story out just to show that what happens in America happens in the UK and worldwide. Here we have one of our little babies just murdered, pushed into the river, and obviously not a very good swimmer has drowned. But as you could hear, the cover-up, I mean, the case was closed within 24 hours. This happened 4.5 years ago. And just to this very day, she's trying to find out answers still. So she's going through that pain. The mother's going through all that pain. His sisters, brothers, family going through all that pain for the past 4.5 years because these Edomites do what they usually do: murder and hold themselves not guilty. You see? Now, this child, this Caucasian Edomite, said that he fell into Christopher, who was the one that was killed. He lied and said he fell into him. It's funny because there was 14 white kids and 1 black kid. And he fell in just into the 1 black kid. And the 1 black kid ends up dead. But really, he pushed him. He pushed him. And that drop there, what we saw, where the water was, it was about 20 feet height. About a 20-foot height, 2.5 meters, 2.4 meters, about roughly 20 feet. So it's quite a long drop. So these Edomites pushed him, child drowned, and within 24 hours, the police closed the case. You see? Because they know the child was murdered. And if you want to go a little bit less than the murder, you can go with manslaughter then. But no charges were given. No charges were given to this Edomite child that committed the murder. And then you have the racist police. The racist police that closed the case within 24 hours. Let me just close this down. Now, if that was the other way round, 14 so-called Negroes, 1 Caucasian child, and the Caucasian child ended up dead by being pushed into the river, I guarantee, and just like they said on the video, that so-called Negro child will be held up on murder charges. And it's just like in America, where some of you Edomites, you lynch the children of Israel, you hang them on trees, and then the police come and say it's suicide. Now, how on earth can you commit suicide hanging yourself off a tree? And they know that's not what we do. That's not in our spirit to do that. They know that. And they know that what's in their spirit is to hang us on trees. So these people are so wicked and evil, you Edomites. And you have the audacity to hold our book, the Holy Bible, and come in our face and say, you have salvation. You're in the kingdom of heaven. You're going to the kingdom of heaven. You're going to be raptured. And it's funny how these wicked police who didn't want to investigate that murder are quick to come up to you when you start filming them with a camera and come up and say to you, move. You're obstructing my investigation. Oh, you want to investigate there then, don't you? You want to investigate there then. You wicked Edomites, you are evil. You are evil race, an evil nation of people. And you've been murdering the children of Israel for centuries. Even your little children now, murdering other children. Murdering our children. Knowing that you're going to get off anyway. Because of this corrupt, Edomite, wicked, devil, satanic system. I don't know what else to say, guys. I don't know what else to say. These are the corrupt, evil, wicked people ruling the earth. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and we know who they are now. They're the adversary of God. They're the adversary of the children of Israel. They murder and feel no way about it. They are natural born killers, natural born murderers.